Hello everyone, it's BYG Agami back with another video, and I'm joined with Dimsy's Domain. Please introduce yourself.
Do I need an introduction? I'm always here, to be honest. Hello guys, you're right.
Yeah, you really don't need an introduction at this point. But we're going to be discussing about the mysterious life form. So we're going to be discussing about the image that we got when the weekly jump translations came out, and this was right before the V-jump of February. And on the image we see the Yusaku's Playmaker form, which we got information during V-jump. And we see Dakotaku, Yusaku's ace, or possibly Yusaku's junk synchron. That monster that basically aids him, we don't know yet. There are some rumors going around that it isn't his ace, but at this point I do think it's ace. But I'm going to show the image up on the screen right now. You guys see that little circular little, I don't even know what to call it, troll, I don't know, but it goes by the name of Mysterious Life Form. And me and Dimsy are just going to give our thoughts or some theories on what this might be. Now I'm going to go first. Personally, what I think this little mysterious life form is that it's going to guide Yusaku into the VR space or virtual reality realm, because we know that Yusaku is a hacker and that he might be very akin to VR stuff. So what I think is that this mysterious life form is going to do is that he knows that Yusaku is a hacker, so he's going to sort of, how do I say, put down little traps or sort of little scummy things to guide Yusaku into the VR world to help him out. Now, what are your thoughts?
I really do like that, this little mysterious life form being some of an aid, an avatar, a NPC of the VR reality world, and that's going to help and guide Yusaku along his way, and that's going to help him make his plays, thus the name Playmaker. So in that regard, I do think that it's a very, very good thought process, and this little mysterious life form does look a little cheeky. Now, here's my little theory regarding this mysterious life form. I'm just going to call it that digital bug. Actually, no, I can't call it digital bug because there's a few cards out there called digital bug. Since we know that Yusaku Fujiki is a hacker and he's a young man, and with that being said, he probably does explore the internet, and he was probably hacking something, and very similar to how Yugi had to decode, or he had to solve, the Millennium Puzzle. Maybe there was this one thing which was supposed to be unhackable, or no one can hack it, or you're not supposed to hack this, and if Yusaku was able to hack it, through hacking this thing, whatever it may be, this code, he was introduced to link monsters, link summoning, and that is a good way, a good little pathway to be introduced into the whole link summoning mechanic, very similar to when they introduced pendulums, whereby we got, although it's not really explained in the beginning, whereby Yuya just suddenly was able to tap into pendulums, but they do explain that later on. But that's how they introduced this new summoning mechanic, and therefore are able to hook in a new audience and introduce it to the populace, introduce it to the duelists who are getting into Yu-Gi-Oh, as well as the old duelists. And I think that this creature is going to be that catalyst for Yu-Gi-Oh! VRAINS, whereby we are going to be introduced to link summoning, because this creature was released from wherever it was locked up in, or it was held captive in, very similar, and some of an homage to the original series, whereby we had the puzzle which held the pharaoh and all the millennium items, how they were used, and the millennium ring holding the spirit of the ring. So this is probably my version of boom, this is going to be the key to link summoning.
Or it could possibly be an Atem, a Dark Bakura, Astral, where I wouldn't say it's guidance, but it's like a other half of Yusaku.
Agreed.
Maybe
yeah.
when you go into the virtual reality realm, you have this partner or something like that with him, that, how do I say, like a hub of some sort.
Yeah.
That sort of introduces him, shows him into this VR realm.
Essentially like a guide, and I think that is very much a very, it probably will be that, and I'm not completely too sure with my theory, but I thought that would be a little bit more nice. I think that you're right with it just being a guide or an Atem-like figure, which is going to be like his own little spirit, his own little tag along, just like how Atem was with Yugi, what Winkaribo was with Jaden. And although Yusi never really had on, he had the Crimson Dragon at the end, but with Yuma,
but yeah, that was more of like just to protect him in bad time.
That's true. And hey, how do you know that this little fella isn't going to protect him as well? Because he's so small and diminutive in his figure and stature, it might make us not really think, okay, oh, he can't do no protecting. But look at Wing Karibo, look at Karibo in general. They kind of made a big deal about in Yu-Gi-Oh how by these small figures kind of,
yeah, and them having the lowest attack basically during that point.
yeah, but they're really helpful. I think this is going to be a monster as well, and I really do hope it's a monster. Now, in terms of the color scheme, when you look at Yu-Gi-Oh Zexal, Yuma's counterpart was Astral, and afterwards we found out that there is a inverse version, there is a dark version of Astral, and he was called number 96, who had a small portion of Don Thousand Soul. But that number 96 was the complete antithesis of what Astral was. I think that is too early for them to show a number 96, a evil entity, a evil avatar in the opening promotional poster, whereby we don't even...
I think that's at least mid-VRAINS,
Yeah.
so about 1.5 years into VRAINS there.
Yeah, maybe even a year, maybe even 9 months, if in all honesty, but not in the opening promotion. So I think you can rule out the mysterious Lifeform being a villain. It could be a neutral antagonist which eventually becomes a friend and an ally, but I don't think that it's going to be a recurring villain. It's going to be a recurring problem. It might be initially, but then they're going to solve it. Or how about this? What do you think about this mysterious Lifeform recruiting the playmaker who is so well known? If you look at the video that we done earlier on the channel, I'm sure it's going to be linked somewhere down below, whereby we...
Yeah, just go in the Yu-Gi-Oh VRAINS playlist.
Yeah,
which I'll link. It's linked down below.
We spoke about Yusaku and his whole playmaker status, and we spoke about how he is a completely different person in VR. So what if this mysterious Lifeform sought out Yusaku because Yusaku is a hacker, he's a prominent figure in the VR world, in the VR link space, etc., and the only person that can help this creature is Yusaku, and thus we have a new adventure where Yusaku is introduced to the villain, the antagonist, the problem, the environment, the world, and that's how we get an explanation of link summing.
I agree with you. I sort of got like weird vibes, like I don't know how to say it, but like, you know, like those movies that have like the person that comes from a different world,
Yeah.
and they sort of seek help because they need to go back to their world. Maybe it might be like that. But one thing I do want to talk about is that if you look at the mysterious figure in Dakotaker's outfit, attire, design,
Yeah.
there's a little circular thing on Dakotaker's kneecap. Now, of course, I'll highlight it in post-production, as well as his chest, and it looks very similar to Dakotaker. Maybe it could be a monster, or maybe falls under that cyber type that Yusaku runs his deck is mainly based around.
Yeah, I think that could be the case.
Or cybers.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
cybers. I think that is a possibility, and also from the fact that, or maybe it could just be the attire, the general attire that people or things seem to adopt when they're in this VR link space. However, I do think that there is a definite relationship between Decode Talker and this mysterious Lifeform, purely because of the similarity. And I assume that from the picture, and I'm sure you're gonna have it up on the screen somewhere, or you guys have already seen it, you know, his pattern on his clothes is probably also gonna glow up, probably gonna be a glowing bright purple or a bright white, which is going to highlight the patterns on his on the chest and the arms and the hands and the head accordingly.
Like if you look at Yusaku's aura, it's purple, and as well as his hair. So they're going for, I don't even know, it's not bright colors, but rather like dark in the middle of bright colors. And
it's a very weird choice of colors, because of the fact that from what we know, and if you look at most Yu-Gi-Oh series, and anyway in most anime in general, the use of purple is always assigned, or mostly assigned, to the villains. Now,
darkness.
Yeah, you guys can probably give me examples of times where it's not, but hey, comment down below of all the times where it was. I can say Marik from the top of my head. I can use from Zexu. I can use the Baryons Vector from Arc 5. You could even use someone like Yuri. From GX, you can even use Yubel. So all of these examples are evident. The use of purple is used for darkness or some sort of malice. It's kind of interesting to see how they're kind of twisting, and hopefully if they do use as the primary aura color, it's quite a change, and that's gonna refresh the mind. And in all honesty, I am looking forward to that.
Yeah, I agree. The colors are very different from like the normal Yu-Gi-Oh style, but it's good. Yu-Gi-Oh! VRAINS seems to be very different. They've been doing, in terms of like releasing information, it's been very different. There haven't been any leaks whatsoever. So it seems that VRAINS is going to be very different. But one thing I want to ask you, as well as people in the comment section, what are your thoughts on the logo?
See, the logo is obviously a play on...
I hate it.
I think it's decent. I do think it's decent because it's a play on the fact that it's VR, and that's gonna denote the virtual reality, and them having the V kind of not protruded but in a diagonal, and the S in a diagonal, to then make the V shape once more. They want to make it a little bit more sleek. Now, one thing I do kind of appreciate is the fact that if you look at the borders and the strokes around,
it's digital.
It's digital, and that's one thing I do like. I do think it's too big though. That's the problem. But at the same time,
and I hate the Duel Links gear in the background.
Yeah, that's the problem. And I think the logo in itself is just a bit too big. However, I can't recall all of the logos from the top of my head in terms of size and relative opacity to compare them.
Yeah.
So, but
I'll say this: DSOD is my favorite.
DSOD.
Comment that down below as well, guys.
DSOD is definitely the most sleek, professional logo, and
the font's amazing.
It is, and it's slightly different, but at the same time, so very similar. And it just gives that lease of life to it, from Duel Monsters to a 2016-2017 fresh new outlook in anime.
Yeah, but I guess that's all we can think of right now. So I do want to say thank you to Dimsy for coming by, man.
No problem.
And check out Dimsy's channel as well. He's going to be posting a video relating towards this topic or something like that relating towards VRAINS. You can check that out in the description. Thank you.